Tested working. All right, getting the YouTube link. All right, still getting ready. Hey, everybody. I'm just doing a couple of channel posts real quick. Lizard. Get started here momentarily. There we go. Okay, cool. I think that's enough announcement. Oh, what happened here? Hold on. I didn't notice my face wasn't on the screen yet. Oh no. Hold on. Is it this one? I think it's this one. Nope, it wasn't that one. Is it the next one? Nope, the next one. Is it the front one? It's not the front one. Is it the back one? Okay, one of these. Hold on, my camera's not plugged in. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna just unplug power to it entirely. Leave it off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plug it back in. And then turn it back on. Uh-oh. What, is it in the wrong mode? What happened? Oh, it's there. It's in the right mode. Is the USB cable plugged in? Which USB cable is it? Let me feel. Nope, not that one. Might be this one. It's not that one. Okay. Okay, the USB cable is behaving as though it's not plugged in for the camera. So I'm just going to unplug it entirely and replug it on both sides. Just plugging it back in. Otherwise, we might have to use the webcam because I don't want to sit and fidget with this all day. This is not what I was hoping to do today, you know? I've had this problem crops up from time to time. It's when the camera's not turned off in the right order. You know, software. Okay, I don't know what's going. Oh, okay, all right. Well, it's working now, so that's for the win. Okay, so it should pop up in just a second, and there we are. Okay, cool. So, hello, and welcome back. Let's pop a top, my friends, real quick. Mr. Mountain Dew says, "Let's open focus." That's right. Boom. All right, and then let's pour it in, pour it in, pour it in. I already poured one in unthinkingly. I wasn't being considerate of the fans. I know that all the fans want to hear that crisp opening sound as many times as possible. But forgive me, fans of the Mountain Dew. And of the channel, because the Mountain Dew is part of the channel, and the channel is part of the Mountain Dew. Well, actually, probably not. Pepsi probably doesn't. They still have not reached out for me to offer me a sponsorship, but I am looking forward to it. So, anytime, Pepsi. Okay, so, where are we at? Shower thoughts this morning. I realized that... So, the unquoted bit here, that one of the nice things about this is that unquoted can go to quoted, either type of quote. You can go to a literal quote from unquoted. You can go to a double quote from unquoted. However, if we start in the unquoted state, then we have a difficult time knowing... we'd have to track which is the first character and some other stuff. So, quotedness is going to be unquoted, literal, or quoted. So, the quotedness, what matters is how it starts, because basically if something is unquoted, that's generally going to be bad. If something's unquoted, it should typically either be a literal, or it should be, if it has any escapes, it should be quoted. If there are no escapes whatsoever, it should be quoted one way or the other. It should be literal quoted. So we're going to have a quotedness, and then in our parser, we're going to do a quotedness and quotedness. And then anytime we enter the equals state, then quotedness should be set. So we should reset the quotedness state here. And let's see, is first... Oh, that was a terrible name. Hold on. Is first what? There we go. In this case, I think I'm not going to go with that style of naming. Okay, so we needed that one. And then, okay, with the quotedness, See, I was going to go to read unquoted, but instead we're going to determine the quotedness. So we're going to peek. We're going to read a byte to peek at which byte it is. By the way, to give some context here, whoops, let me get out of there entirely if I can. To give some context here, so this is what we're looking at. So we're going to disregard any exports, and then we're going to look for a key value that has to start with letters or underscore. And actually, maybe has key alpha would be the better name for that. I can, we can refactor names later. Anyway, so these are not valid. These are not valid because you can't start with 0, or 1, or any number, but let's make that 1 so that it's more clear between 1 and 0, or maybe 99 red balloons. So this is invalid. No equals. Okay, I'm gonna skip this piece of music here. That's annoying. So what do you think of Zig? I will tell you in just a moment, Leonardo. So what I was getting to here. Oh, and darn, I need to get rid of that. Hold on. Oh, curses! It already did it. Okay. I needed it to not do the formatting because then it gets rid of my this thing right here. So I was doing this on purpose. Oh, whoops. So there we go. All right. So these are the things that we're looking at. So here are good things. That's good. This one, that one's good. That one's good. So this is unquoted with escapes. This one's literal quotes where you can't have escapes. This one is double quoted, which does allow escapes. All right. And then these are invalid. So what I was saying is that because unquoted can contain quotes, like for example, this right here is valid. We could do boo, bar, baz. Like that's legit right there. So this would give you foobar as one word and then baz as another word. So anyway, because of that, it would be difficult to say, okay, we're going to enter into the unquoted state and then we're going to switch to a quoted state because you're using the unquoted state to determine which state is next. And so that's what I don't want to do. So what I think about Zig is that it's great so far. I think that it's a wonderful language that you could learn in a week. I don't think you can learn it in a weekend like you can with Go. And well, maybe some people could that are much more familiar with the systems programming, but I think you can learn it in a week. It's the patterns are not too far off of mainstream languages, where mainstream is basically anything that's been around 3 years longer than Zig or has released a 1.0 and has corporate sponsorship. That's my, I'm going to qualify mainstream. Okay, so we're going to do the read byte here. We're going to read byte and then we're going to unread the byte. So we're going to read byte, and then this is going to be val char. Oh, bless me. And then we're going to switch on this. Val char. I think, oh yeah, and it has to be var because we're going to shove it back in the reader. So we're going to do, well, we're going to unread it in just a moment here. Okay, so we got val char, and then we're going to have if it is a single quote, then quotedness equals literal. And if it is a double quote, then quotedness is going to be quoted. And then otherwise, quotedness is going to be unquoted. So, which is the same as saying mixed. And then forgive that I've got stuff on weird sides of the screen. So read unquoted, read quoted, read literal. So we got all those things. And then after that, we need to, where's my peak reader? Put back byte, hold on. After all that, we need to do a put back byte. Okay, there we go. Now I hit save, now it formatted. So I used to bother hitting tab and all that, but now I can usually, pretty quickly get to a point where the code is correct enough that when I hit save, the formatter will take care of it. So it kind of bothers me, especially in languages like Zig, where there's a little bit more to the syntax. But I don't know, just getting the pace set right and all that stuff, it's just easier to just, if I'm having trouble formatting it, which is one of the things the formatter is great for, or having trouble getting the syntax right, then I'll start to line everything up to make sure I'm not missing anything. But a lot of times when I'm copying and pasting, it's not that far off. It's like I know where the missing comma is or whatever. But yeah, I think Zig is great. I'm hoping that this is something that not only that I get to use for fun projects. So my main use case for Zig is CLI tools. And the reason for this is very simple. Go binaries are huge, and I find it embarrassing to try to convince a Linux user that they should have a 4 megabyte binary in order to parse a file. It's a hard sell. Whereas, 57 kilobytes is large, but it's not absurd, right? So if we let's look at our system utilities. So, for example, let's take a look at bin. Let's just look in bin, right? So we're going to have, what's the average size here? Okay, bash is 1.3 megabytes. It's an entire interpreter and shell. Cat is bigger than I would think. Okay, so actually a lot of these are a lot bigger than I would have expected. Like Echo, who could have imagined that Echo would be 131 kilobytes? That seems huge. So, okay, these are way bigger than I thought they were. Way bigger. If I was going to write ls and Zig, I'm pretty sure it wouldn't end up that big. So if we were to do, we could just look at what I've got already in the builds here. Or, Zig, out, bin, whoops. So I should rebuild it again so we get a fair comparison. But, okay. So that's the debug build. This is what the non-debug looks like compressed. So let's go back and we're going to do zig build -d optimize release fast, which that's not really what I want here. What I want is small. Oh, I am in a state where things are not ready to go yet. Okay. Okay, so we'll see what the fast release looks like. This is going to be a little larger. So 202 kilobytes. Ugh. But we can do release small, 72 kilobytes. And so for me, I would rather have it be small than fast because I don't want it to look like it's doing a whole bunch. You can do zig fumped off if you need a block not auto formatting. Thanks for that. I don't think that I will use that. Well, okay, this is going to be handy to know. I'm going to make a note of it. The formatting that I needed to turn off was earlier was for this. For my POSIX shell file. That's a good note. But I just want to use the default formatting. I really believe that as far as... Yeah, formatting should be decided by the language and people shouldn't rail against it. I know that there might be a case where the formatting is just doing something absolutely unexpected and horrendous. But the way I usually get around that sort of thing is by inserting a comment or inserting a, like August was saying, put a comma at the end. So I found ways to, to force formatters when I really feel like I know what I'm doing and the formatter is leading the reader astray. But for the most part, I'm going to try really hard to stick with what the formatter does. Now, one thing that I don't like about Zig that I would love to see a solution for is having to put breaks to have braces in a lot of places. If you want to do a break, you have to have, a label. If you want to do a break, you have to have a label. I think that just generally speaking, there's so many errors that can and have historically happened over the stupid, single space. If you cannot put it on the same line, you should absolutely not put it on the next line. And I'm against even putting it on the same line. I think that even putting it on the same line is too dangerous. That's one thing I've come across that I don't like. And somebody had said, "Oh well, it's built in such a way that you can't have the problem you're thinking of," but it isn't, because August had the problem. So you can still have the problem just in a different way. You could still save the file and have the program run. The formatter might change it while you're saving it, but you could still have your auto indenter put something in a place and then end up with an expression in such a way that not having the braces did you harm. So having to have extra verbosity to have the braces, I'm not sold on that. If it was something that could be auto formatted, I'm into that. But yeah, that's one thing. And then I'm not clear on how interfaces work yet. That's something I am looking forward to learning. And it sounds like because of the overhead of virtual tables, interfaces are generally frowned upon. But in this case, what I want is really clean, readable code. The reason I'm using Zig is not to squeeze out every last byte of memory. Although that's nice, it's that I don't want to have to ship Node or Python or a Go runtime. I want to be, and I don't want to spend 6 months writing my program in Rust and fighting the borrow checker the whole way down. Now this program, maybe if I were to port this from Zig to Rust, once I've written it, I could probably do a decent job, because a lot of the rules around memory seem to be fairly similar. There's, the dinit, which is the same thing you have in Rust, except it's implicit rather than explicit. So for this particular program, I probably could do it in Rust, but Rust doesn't cross-compile, at least not easily or sanely. And so Zig provides me the ability to write what I would never write in C, because I know that I'm not smart enough to write in C, and I also know that there's not a single person on the planet who's smart enough to write in C, without exception. But I think I might be smart enough to write in Zig for things that aren't guaranteed to give someone a virus. So I don't know if I'm smart enough to write a web server in Zig, but I think I'm smart enough to write a file processor. Now, anybody's smart enough to write a web server in Go. I mean, like, you can't screw it up. You can 500, but there's no arbitrary code execution out of it. So yeah, command line tools is what I'm really interested in Zig for. There's a number of command line tools I would love to be writing in Zig. Once I complete this one, there might be another 5 where I copy and paste this and kind of start from there, because a lot of them are shell tools. That's yeah, and I would love to have. I don't use Windows enough for it to really be a problem for me, but I would love to have tail and head, etc., etc. And I don't know that the BusyBox style is the way to go, because people try to implement core utils. They're, they're all such small, simple programs. They try to implement core utils as a repository, but then what you end up with is there's, I don't know, a dozen half-baked core utils repositories out there where somebody's rewritten core utils in Rust or Zig or whatever. But then there's always a table of like what level of completeness and compatibility. No, just like give me POSIX tail. Give me POSIX tail, and don't give me anything else, but give me verbatim compliant POSIX tail, and I'm happy, right? Give me a whole box that happens to have a tail that's compliant. It's not as attractive to me as just having one tool, because then you have to do the mental gymnastics of like, okay, so from this I can grab this one and I can grab this one. I'd rather fork it, pull the tail out into its own thing, pull this out into its own thing, so on and so forth. Just have them be separate repos under like, cross core, Zig cross core or whatever. Anyway, so we know that with the quotedness, and then we put the byte back into our peak reader, and then we should be off to the races. So now we can know what state our value is in. And then I also realized that we are going to basically need to have, I took away this because I thought, okay, well, we only need to have one string buff, but I think it really does come back to we need a value buff and then we need a var buff, because we can be reading in 3 distinctly different strings at a time. And then I suppose that I need to I need to deinit all of these. And then I'll need to copy them when I want to put them into the map. And I should start using the map at this point. Do we still have dupe in here? No, we don't have dupe in here anymore. I'll have to go look at the PR where I removed it. Okay, I don't like the way this looks. Would it be acceptable to do this instead as a general pattern? Because I feel like if I do it the other way, I need to have new lines in between it, and then it just seems like a lot. Okay, we can get rid of this. We can get rid of this. I do need to have some sort of new line-ness. And we need to have CRLF or new line. And then this one, how do I do an option of an enum? I do like this, right? Is that the way to do it? Core utils for Windows and Zig. Let's take a look real quick, because I did look for this and I did find it, but then 1G, not 2G's, do we? All right, so we've got several here. But that's my problem, is that I just want one. What it should be is it should be a organization, and then it should it should not be a mono repo. Have everything have its own release, its own version. Don't try to throw it all in, because yeah, this is yeah, this is what we have so far, right? So it's subcommands completed, subcommands to do. And so what I'd rather have is just, let's make an organization, Zig core utils, and then just as we complete them, plop, 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 put one in, and then why do we have who am I instead of ID? ID, yeah. Who am I should just be implemented on top of ID. Or I guess you could go the other way. You could say, well, I can implement who am I first and I can implement ID later. But yeah, that's one where who am I should just be an alias. And so true, I mean that one's simple enough. Touch is simple enough. False is simple enough. Just, exit 1, exit 0. Clear. That one actually seems like one of the more complex ones because you have to figure out the TTY stuff and whatever. Base name, that one's simple enough. Dir name, that one's simple enough. So yeah, so I think so this one's cool, and then I will take a look at who else you said. Johnny Marley. Let me look for Johnny Marley. And I actually don't want GNU core utils. I want POSIX core utils. Because what I want is portability. Now, if the GNU core utils are implemented correctly, they are portable for POSIX. Well, with the exception of sed. No, not GNU core utils. Why did I say that? So I don't see... That's actual GNU. Mature content. You can install core utils. So could you, if you want to paste me a link to that in the Discord, that would be great. Or you could do it on the Zig Discord, or you can do it on my Discord. I'm in the Zig Discord as CoolAJ86. I just joined. Well, I joined a couple years ago, but I had made my first post the other day, which is what led me onto this project. Yeah. Utils. Cool. So I think that this is great. This kind of thing. And I'll take it in Rust, I'll take it in Zig. I'd prefer it in Zig because it's cross-platform. But somewhere down here it's going to say, warning, this is not a complete implementation. Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe this is complete. Is this actually complete? All programs have been implemented. Some options might be missing. And that's the thing, is I would rather just have, this is tail, I know it works. And really, I could go through my scripts and I could tell you, which I have to have sed, I have to have tr, I have to have cut, rm, mv. Sed is, of course, one of the more complicated ones to do, especially because you're going to have to link against some sort of regular expression library. I guess, yeah. But it's not even me, because I don't use Windows that much. I just want it to be available so that people can run POSIX scripts on Windows. I mean, PowerShell is pretty good, but it's actually surprisingly good. I hate to say it, but it is. Yeah. Anyway, Thanks for that, Leonardo. And yeah, let me know if you have the link to it specifically. I'd love to check it out. Okay, so let's get back to our problem at hand here. I don't remember how we do this. Equals null? Equals null. That's what it is. We do equals null, right? PM. The link. It's not complete. Okay, I am looking for the... I don't see the message on Discord. I'm looking for a message from you or new messages, direct messages, message requests. Okay. There we go. Okay. It just, for whatever reason, it decided not to show you. All right. Give this a little star. Keep an eye on it. But hey, but this is good. This is what I'm talking about. Is just list the ones that you've got done. Yeah, all right. Maybe I'll even make an organization for it right now. What should it be called? What does POSIX call it? Shellhitters.org. Nice. And of course, the biggest one would be to implement SH. I believe that there is an SH implementation for Windows. It's pretty decent. It's hard for me. Hold on. POSIX. Do I have it? I should have it in bookmarks. There we go. Linux commands. But I actually wanted to bookmark the thing. So what's the name of this? Utilities. POSIX utilities. I'm just going to create an organization for it. Where's my... Do we have a create organization? Yeah, I'll put it under my business. All right, add organization members, just me. And the org settings. URL. Right here. Throw that one in there. Oh no! Okay, it still worked. Yeah, and then each one of these should have releases. I wonder if I could have a organization that's called POSIX++. But yeah, I mean, look at this, right? Whoops. We've got all these things in bin. Whoops. In bin here. I'm okay if, you know, I don't think LS is going to take 183 kilobytes to do in Zig, but, you know, if it does, you know, like these are acceptable. And the download sizes on these is going to be really, really small. So, for example, XZ keep bin LS. Oh, I'd have to do it somewhere else. All right, where's our LS at? 24 kilobytes. So, I mean, that's not something to be ashamed of. I find PowerShell syntax ugly. Don't know why. Miles above batch though. Yeah, it's ugly because it's Windows cased. It's like the word if is all caps. The word not is a single capital, and then caps don't actually matter. But yeah. Cool. Well, maybe Jonathan and I and some of these other people, I mean, it's a matter of so much time investing in it, but yeah, maybe we could get together and each take on a piece of the puzzle and just say, look, the goal is to produce things that are 100% complete. That's the only goal. Like, just whatever it is that you do, make it 100%. And then where's the POSIX reference? Because what it would be really nice... What? 2018? I thought it was 2017. It is 2017. What? 2018 edition? Were there some typos fixed or something? I don't remember seeing that before. Anyway. So ideally, what we'd want to be able to do is go to Shell and Utilities here. Utilities. So this is if I could link to this, if it weren't just frames, that's what I'd want to do. And there are some things like alias, I'm pretty sure that cannot exist. So you have to implement SH in order to implement alias. There's a few of these. In order to implement them, you actually have to implement SH. Because if you don't implement SH, because alias requires modifying the shell, and anytime you fork a process, or I don't know if that's actually the most precise terminology, but anytime that you start a new process in a shell, it cannot change parent envs. And so alias, I mean, if alias is doing something I don't know about, yeah, alias is not in bin. Okay, good. Whew, thank heavens. Because that would really scare me. Because alias is a built... What? What? I will have to go look at the source for alias, because that seems impossible for it to modify, to export into the parent shell. Now this says 120 bytes. So user bin alias. I'm very curious, because the only thing I could think of to do, and what you'd need to do on Windows if you wanted to create an alias, is you would write out an executable file to a location in the path. Okay. Since alias affects the current shell execution environment, it is generally provided as a shell regular built in. Anyway, we're off the beaten path. Let me get back on the beaten path here. This was a good detour. But let's see if I can get back here. Stir buff, stir buff. Alright, that's a good place for that. If nothing else, it's also a good place for Val and Var. I mean, this is not where it should be, but it can be here. He recorded a video when he did the tools. I think I will watch that. I'm going to post that in the channel for everybody else, too. Thanks for that. Ooh, what is this? I haven't noticed this one before, although I'm sure I've been listening to it 100 times. Sugoden! Sugoden 2! Alright, skipping that one. I don't like stuff with voices in it when I'm coding. Alright, so here we're going to do Val buff. And we kind of need a raw... We need a raw versus eval. I need an eval buff as well. And then I'm gonna duplicate these for now, but we'll come back around and we'll clean them up. You can always go back and optimize later. Which is what we shall do. Alright, new lineness. So basically... Can we do switch new lines? Or we just have to do that inside of here? Which, you know, that's not so bad. So what was it going to be? Dot. basically, I need this thing that's going to set the new lineness. And then so first of all, we need to peek off the beaten path again. This is not what I wanted to do, but that's okay. All right, so we're going to be here. So if it's a new line, no, I don't need to do anything in this case. Well, let me think here. Okay, next. Okay, in either of these cases, I'm going to put that line back. So here we go. Oh, bless me. So the question is, has new line equals false. As new line is going to be equal to true. As new line So if not new line this, if has new line, okay. So this I don't like. Does this work, or is this going to gripe now? Is the block thing? Okay, it didn't gripe about the block thing. All right, great. Or maybe, I don't know. Let me actually take a look at the other one again. I'm going to give that a shot. I'm going to give it a shot. So I think we'll just treat it, if it's a stray carriage return, we'll just treat it as a new line. Treat strays as new lines. I'm gonna give the Way of Zig a go. But I'm not gonna like it. Okay, so basically this is how I want to read every single /r. Okay, so if the new lineness is not set, check to see if, well, no. Hold on. What did I mess up here? Oh, that needed to be a semicolon. That needed to have, there we go. Okay, so basically if we're Fix bad CRLFs. Treat stray /rs as new lines. Okay. Okay, let me see if this is actually right, because this may be bad logic. All right, let's think about this for a second. So if this is a CRLF, then write the /r. Otherwise, don't write the /r. Okay, got it. So if this doesn't have a new line after it, then write the new line. So let's... What's up, Mucha? So now I could take this whole thing and I could inline it as maybe fix CRLF. And I'm going to put in next and the reader. And the writer. Okay, I'm going to go all the way down to here. So let's go ahead. We'll put this in the state then. Okay, and then what was this griping about? Oh, but we have a problem here. Okay, it is going to have to go to the env because we're going to have, as part of what this has, is new line ness equals null. And then we get rid of that one. So we're guaranteeing that that is set. /in is a new line. Yeah. So /r is carriage return. So it's back to the printer days and teletype. What's up, Blizzard Down? So I feel, well, I believe see, what is this one? Unquoted. Wait, what was this one then? All right, let's start at the top. So this one is chomp prefix. So this one is really where we're hoping to determine. So the chomp prefix, we've got nothing to write to. Unquoted, we do have something to write to. So if we're unquoted, or if we're in a chomp, okay, so wait, which is this one in? So unquoted escape. Um, Oh darn, this one could kill me. Because in this one case, a backslash could escape 2 characters. Well, actually, wait, hold on. No, I don't think I actually should need that. Because what I'll do is I'll just fix it right here. Why is it complaining about this? Hold on. So in this particular case, I actually want to know... Dang it. Well, I gotta think about this one. Okay, so now we can just go back to calling this char. Char. Because it's no longer... Now this is next. And this is just char again. Okay. Alright, where did I screw it up? Right here. Alright, and then next... See, what they need to do with the tooling is just make it so... If you're in the middle of refactoring something, it just starts doing it automatic. No, that would kill us too. All right, let me see. Learning Zig, are we? That's like choosing to learn Latin. No, learning C is like choosing to learn Latin. Impressive, but you'll use it about as much as that gym membership you optimistically... No, dude. I know exactly what I'm using Zig for. No Copilot? No. I don't like those tools. They just... In general, they slow me down because they generate mostly bad information, which if you're learning is okay because the information is oftentimes useful. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, the USB... All right, we still have audio? We still have audio. Hold on. USB is going to make a comeback. Give me a second here. Oh, I got to unplug it and replug it. It's that time of year where things become very sensitive to static. Okay, unplugged. Replugged. And I've got these anti-static mabobs, but they only work so well. Well, does it work in Vim? That's the other thing, is I use Vim. And it has to be fast. Whatever it is, it has to be fast. I cannot stand waiting for something to pop up. Okay, and Leo was saying you should avoid using inline. So to Leo, so the reason I was doing inline for these is because, well, I guess the normalize, I suppose, yeah, these are so small that I wouldn't have turned them into functions. But I suppose I'm actually reusing normalize, because some of these I'm not actually reusing. I only use them once or twice. Yeah, that one. There's only 2 places I'm using it. Okay. Yeah, I see you quoted Andrew. You want to change how many stack frames are in a call stack for debugging purposes. You want comp timeness of arguments to propagate to the return value of the function. Maybe. Performance measures demand it. Don't guess. Otherwise, you end up restricting what the compiler is allowed to do and use inline, which can harm binary size, compilation speed, and even runtime performance. So... yeah, I will read this bit here. Yeah. So I agree with this. I'm not trying to do it for performance. I mean, I could just take the inline off and see what happens. But with this, I mean, you know, if we were to write this less pretty, like literally, you know, these could be, yeah, the other optimizations that it does along the way, I think are going to be the better ones. I basically, I want it to just copy and paste this in there. Because if I didn't create a function for it, the only problem with that is then it starts to obscure the business logic. I would have been moving the stuff with the next byte and whatnot in there too, except I couldn't figure out how to allow it. But yeah, these I'm only using them in 2 places. The normalized one, I think there's more of an argument for it since I'm thinking I'm going to use it in 3 or 4 places. But this is not, it's not performance critical. I don't know. I guess it doesn't matter. But yeah, so for example, I would like to inline each of these to a function. The problem is I don't know how to get the peak reader passed into a function. That's my problem. Because if I try to pass a peak reader into a function, then it becomes a const. And then it complains because it has to put things back. So I could maybe do something. I mean, another thing I could possibly do is to lift the peak reader, and maybe this is what I should do. I just am not familiar with how all this works. Maybe I should lift the peak reader up to here, and then this needs to be initialized with a peak reader. And that, I think, could make sense too. Or maybe not, because let's see. When I parse, I supply a reader and a writer. So I could, yeah, if I can move those here and have them not be, let's try that. Let's just see what happens. I'll move the reader and the writer and just see what that looks like real quick. Let me first make sure that, can we zig build at this point? Are we still, let me fix a couple of the issues that prevent zig build. Okay, new line-ness. I should probably call this new line style. Okay. How do I do the self thing? I had that in a previous revision of this. Let's see if Code Llama knows what's up. What does Code Llama tell me? Come on, boot up Code Llama. Code Llama's cold. Oh. Nice. Okay, I think Is it like this? Is it like this? Is it like this? Okay, let me go find something that has methods on it and see how they're declared. Is it self star self? Is that what it is? Let's go look at the source. That didn't work. No. All these coding scenarios are close to being taken over by AI in a complete way. They're not. They're really, really not. There's so many areas where it's helpful, and I'm becoming more a believer in that, but it's not even close to, because if nothing else, you'd have to have literally a prompt engineer, somebody who can write a question or a task in a way. And then you still have to be a programmer, because you still have to take it logically step by step and think through the edge cases. So even if you get it to write the code for you, you have to give it proper logic. No, I don't use VS Code. I do Vim. I don't do VS Code. Again, it's slow, and more importantly than that, because yeah, you only have to open it a few times, maybe on a computer, when you boot it up or whatever. But more important than being slow, it doesn't work on VPSs. They still don't. The story for it has gotten better, but you can't really do remote coding, and I do remote coding about half the time. So, Zig declare member method. Is it called self? I could have sworn I didn't call it self. But let's go ahead and try it. There's one other thing I can think of. Which is that I need to call it like this. That might be what it is. I mean, it's just syntax sugar either way. So. $467. Okay, I think this is a case where I need to break, not return. Or no, it's just a return. Sorry. These expression returns are, I've never liked them in any language. I just prefer to have the return. Hmm. Okay, so there's definitely an idiom for this, because this does not seem right. Yeah, that's so it's like giving me Rust or something. The option type is nil. So would it be null? How do I do... I know how to do if option. How do I do if not option? Maybe I go back to the basics page. Okay, if value, if equals null, option. Okay, so we do check null. Cool beans. That makes sense. I don't know why I thought it would be otherwise. These expressions are hard for me. It seems like try should be the default. I don't know. It's a good indicator this can error. It just seems like I have to put it in front of everything. It's almost like run. You know, kind of the await problem in JavaScript. But I don't know, maybe it's not a problem. It's clear. I like it. The compiler seems to do all right. So what can I complain about? Okay, so all I've done, I don't even know if I've done anything useful at this point. I think I just handled new lines, mostly. Let's see if this thing will still run. I kind of doubt that it will. Just goes into an infinite loop or something, maybe. Okay, so something happened where a thing was put back that shouldn't have been. I think this actually read bad memory. Oh, ignore. Yeah, so this, now my program's broken. Before, at least, it was correct. Now it's just doing who knows what. Gotta go. Thanks for the stream. Have a nice day. And thank you. Thanks for joining in. Teach me stuff. Okay, I can pass a pointer. I will have to try that then. Matter of new 32K window, memory vector, and better trained GPT. What GPT-4 does best ultimately is write regex. I would not trust it to write regex. I have seen so many mistakes that it makes that something that's that complex and impossible for a human to understand, I would not trust it. Because you can't verify it. Okay, so before my program worked, and now it does not. Okay, why would I put back the char? Oh. I needed to put back next. That's what I needed to do. All right, let's run this again. Okay, now secret 2 is end of stream. I don't think that's the case. Okay, so something has now gone wrong. Okay, so that looks correct. But that is not correct. So something went wrong with the literals. So let's see where we're at here. Oh. There we go. That's the problem. We should only put back the byte. We're going to consume the byte if we're switching to the quote state, because the next quote ends that state. So we're going to put we're going to chomp the byte if we're switching into a quote state, but we're going to put the byte back if we're in an unquoted state. Okay, and that starts to look pretty decent. Except that where's my append? So now my append needs to go here. And that should give me back the quotes around my values, and that's just for debugging, really. But it didn't. Because I used the wrong one. Because I should have used the val buff, not the name buff. Okay, cool. So now we're back to... Things are pretty much working. Okay. And then I'm going to have a debug mode. We're just going to throw this in here. Yeah, just throw some stuff in. So now we're going to have a debug. Can I just do debug equals true? Do I need to do anything more than that? Okay. So here's what I'm going to do on my quotes. just to show if debug. And this could probably be a comp time thing. I'm not sure how we do that. I guess we could do it with mode. But for right now, I'm going to do it with this. It's going to be fine. I think I actually would want this. There's going to be some sort of raw parameter or something of that nature anyway. So. And then I think I'm okay with making this one line. Read unquoted escapes. Okay, so that's an escape. I'm going to write this out, but I'm also going to go back a second just to make sure that I'm only doing char where I should do char and not next. Okay, good. I got to keep my eye on that. Okay, which one is this? Equals. So yeah, if we're in debug, read literal, read quoted. This should also have it. Okay. And this one is what? This one is... It looks like the debug is not true. Oh, this should be next. These two cases should both be next. Okay, cool. So now... So that's, I'm probably going to change that. We're going to have a raw val buff is what we're going to have. Do I have a PowerShell snippet for getting in the Windows edition? PowerShell. Yeah. Let me just pull that out of my notes here. That's what Code Llama tells me. Well, this is actually code up, but there you go. Stop paying for video games when I added up what I had spent on World of Warcraft 10 years ago. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of stuff I missed here. Sorry. I'm not a cheapskate. It's well worth paying for tools that are going to save you time and money. I mean, paying $20 for something that saves you hours is a absolute no-brainer. I would pay. It's just I'm not really clear that it's that much better. I've heard people say that 4 is actually worse, but I'm willing to pay. I in fact I was going to pay, but it won't let me create an account under my business email because it won't let me use my business phone number, and I can't use my existing phone number without deleting my personal account. So I could probably just pay to get another line on my phone and then write that off. Yeah, so I'm guessing Akshat used GPT. I used Code Up on Olama. Okay. Waiting for Windows 10 to boot is like waiting for a sloth to complete a marathon. Yeah. OpenAI is the best in the market right now. That is not actually true. At least not according to the objective metrics. So Code Llama, so and I've experienced this myself. The more finely tuned models do a better job at what they are finely tuned for than the OpenAI. And I think that in the end, this is going to win out. And the reason is this is running on my computer, right? So if it's costing them $100 million a day or more, but $100 million a day for me to do something that I could, that could be packaged as a local app that anybody with an M1 can run and get the same speed of response times. What you would need is a model that can classify what type of question is this and then forward it to the next model. I think that's the piece that's missing. There should be the general model. And then there's also the bit about how most people don't have 100 gigs of free space on their computer. And each model is between, 2 and, well, the bigger models are close to 40 gigs. But let's say that the average person's going to need 5 models. And so that's, let's be generous and say that that's 25 gigs. Then 25 gigs is a lot on a modern computer. Go back 15 years ago, 25 gigs was nothing. But nowadays, 25 gigs is, half of all of your space that you had available. So weird. They make computers smaller and smaller, or like less and less capable, but it's profitable because the computer isn't profitable, but the cloud services are profitable, and everybody's in bed with everybody else. And anyway, but just the economics of OpenAI, they don't look like they're going to work out. OpenAI has tuned models, just saying yes. But what I'm saying is that the models that other organizations are coming up with are beating OpenAI in their chosen field. So there's not a general model that beats OpenAI, but there are tuned models that beat OpenAI there's like 10 different categories of thing. Well, see, Akshat, this is why, and I'm just going to refer to you by your real name, Elon, but this is why we have webinstall.dev, right? You don't need Docker. You can have it all right here. I want to do a better job of showcasing this. By the way, I want to see what we're up to. Well, I guess... Boop. We're getting close. Oops, not this one. $118 or 1018. So we still got a ways to go. We got one more today. So when we hit 1.1, that's when I will actually consider how to market this, how to get it out there to more people, because the 1K is nice, but when we hit that 1.1, that's what I want to see. I want to see 1.1. And that's when I want to go through every single one of these tools and make sure that we have a PR for using Webby in the repo. And there's some things I want to clean up before we get to that point. But yeah. All right, so what were we doing next? I had this thing running. I will not buy. No. That only hurts you. There is no benefit in but now, you know, if I could get like a media channel and get access, I am okay with that. Okay, do we want to... All right, we've got that one. Okay, so what I'm not clear about is why we're not getting that other escape to show up. This is it, getting the escape characters right is kind of annoying because when it prints, it also has to get them right. Okay, why is this still not working? All right. So I've got that there. Read literal. think that that's... Read quoted. Oh, we should switch all this back to char. I don't think we have a char in here, do we? Just the one? Okay. So all of this should go back to being char. Oh no! How could we end up with 3 of these? Is it where we output it? Did I use a formatter on it? I probably used a formatter on it, and it's... Let's see. Print? No, there's no formatter here. Well, let's read unquoted.